Are you a traveler or a tourist? Do I sound serious? It could be my acting skills, or it could be that you've heard this question so many times before. Look at all these. Are you a traveler or a tourist? Take the quiz to find out. Differences between a tourist and a traveler. Kind of weird that the USA Today would use the British spelling of two L's, but whatever. 10 differences between tourists and travelers. 21 signs you're a traveler, not a tourist. And the great debate. Traveler or tourist? Great debate, great geschmate. This is such a tired cliche. Welcome back to Globally Curious, my new channel where we talk all about the tough issues of travel and hopefully make you a better traveler. Definitely subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. Links in the description. But let's get back to that question. Okay, are you a traveler or a tourist? Just for the heck of it, let's actually have you answer the question, and I will try to predict your answer. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3, traveler! Nobody says, oh, I'm a tourist, of course. It's like if somebody asks you, are you smart or dumb? You could be like the dumbest person ever, but you don't think you're dumb. So you answer, of course, I'm smart. And everyone else is like, that guy is dumb. So like the line between smart and dumb, everybody thinks that they're on the smart side. Just like with smart and dumb, traveler versus tourist is a continuum, and different people fall at different points. And the one side is like the people who go off on their own, they don't use tour guides, they explore, they go off off the beaten path, all that kind of stuff. And on the other side, you have people exhibiting these characteristics we associate with tourists. They go in groups, they take tours, they don't do anything too scary, they hire a driver, all this kind of stuff. First of all, there's not really necessarily anything wrong with either of those. But the problem is there's no obvious line where you cross from traveler to tourist, like if you once went to McDonald's while you were in Tokyo or something like that. So we all draw the line so that no matter where we are, we're on the traveler side. Sandra's on the traveler side, Tom's on the traveler side, even Angelo's on the traveler side. What is this traveler versus tourist thing all about? Basically, it's a way to make us travelers feel superior to those tourists. But why should we be making fun of people just because they are on a tour bus, or just because they're going to the cafe with the big trilingual menus or something like that? We all have our own capacity as travelers or as tourists. Travel is not this easy thing, and everybody's trying hard to do it well. Maybe if you're older or you're a less experienced traveler on your first trip abroad, you may take more tours. You may feel safer doing that. It might be a big adventure to you just because it's not to someone else. I push people to be independent, but that means something different for everyone. I just want people to push a little bit beyond their limit, wherever that limit might be. And yet here we are making fun of tourists. In New York, we make fun of tourists all the time. We basically talk about them behind their backs. Oh, these annoying tourists. I can't believe they went to that restaurant, which nobody ever goes to if they're a New Yorker, blah, 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 blah. But I really wonder if we should do that. I actually had never really thought about this until I read this classic book, which I had also never heard of before, The Tourist by Dean McCannell. It was written in the 1970s. It's like a sociological study of tourists as a group. And look at what he writes in there. At one point, he writes that the rhetoric of moral superiority that comfortably inhabits this talk about tourists was once found in unconsciously prejudicial statements about other outsiders: Indians, Chicanos, young people, blacks, women. So he's actually comparing what we do to tourists to racism and sexism. And it sounds a little crazy, but there might actually be something to it. We do kind of discriminate against people from other places who come in and kind of act like dummies in our own city. There should be a word for that. We should call it racism, sexism, tourism. That might already be taken. I also get interested in where does this phrase actually come from, traveler versus tourist? Who used it first? And it turns out that it's from a book by Paul Bowles called Sheltering Sky. Paul Bowles is a great writer. I'm actually in the middle of one of his other books right now, The Spider's House. He writes a lot about North Africa. And look, it's really excellent. I'm on page 30. Okay, it's kind of kidding. It's not really excellent. I'm on page 37. It's a little dense. Sometimes after 3 pages, you kind of feel I just want to watch videos on YouTube. Which reminds me, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a video. Okay, well, whatever. So, in Sheltering Sky, here's the key passage. Here it is on a piece of paper. It's talking about the main character, whose name is Port Moresby, which is kind of weird because it's also like a city in Papua New Guinea. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, this is what the main character has to say. Listen and see whether you are a traveler or a tourist, according to him. He did not think of himself as a tourist. He was a traveler. The difference is partly one of time, he would explain, whereas the tourist generally hurries back home at the end of a few weeks or months. The traveler, belonging no more to one place than to the next, moves slowly over periods of years from one part of the earth to the other. Okay, so the guy that invented traveler versus tourist has some bad news for most of you. If a few weeks to a few months makes you a tourist, we are all tourists. So get off your high horse. You're not really a traveler according to this guy. Everyone has different definitions of what a traveler is. So does this question have absolutely no use at all? Well, the way it's formulated, I don't think it does. I think it's stupid. I think we should never say it again. Okay, that's too much. There is some value in distinguishing between the sort of actions you associate with travelers and the sort of actions you associate with tourists. Actually, in the very same book, there's another quote. Another important difference between tourist and traveler is that the former accepts his own civilization without question. Not so the traveler, who compares it with others and rejects those elements he finds not to his liking. Okay, now that's cool. Like when you go to another civilization, you see how they're doing things, and you actually sometimes say, they're doing it differently than us, and actually maybe better. And actually that is one of the great things about travel. When you go to another place, you never even realized something could be done differently. And then you're like, wow, that's great. Why don't we do that? And actually there's a lot we can learn from this kind of debate, but I think we can do it without speaking ill of tourists, whoever they are. Okay, that's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Check out the other videos I've been posting this week. You can even check out my Portuguese language YouTube channel. There are subtitles in English. Most importantly, get down there and write what you think. I'll see you in the comments.